Welcome to beautiful Fort Lauderdale, Florida, home of the 4th Pro Series event on the 2022 AVP Tour. Packed house here. Let's head down to the court for formal introductions, and that, of course, comes from Mark Sherman.
And it is time. Final round winners bracket for the gentlemen. Fort Lauderdale, are you excited for this match? Fort Lauderdale, you know what's about to happen? This is going to be sweet. This is going to be sweet. We got some high flyers. We got some Olympians, including this first guy voted Player of the Year at Long Beach State University. Out of Honolulu, Hawaii, let me hear it for Taylor Crabb. By the way, Taylor Crabb, also an Olympian representing the USA. His partner also voted Player of the Year at Brigham Young University, also represented the USA in the Olympic Games out of Corona, California. And did you guys see what he did yesterday? Absolutely destroying balls. I can't wait to see more. Give it up for Taylor Sander. And their opponents coming off the win in Hermosa Beach. First up, this guy out of Red Deer, Alberta, Canada, voted in college by me the best player in Canada. Also represented his country at the Olympic Games in 2016. Give it up for Schalk. And his partner out of Ridgefield, Connecticut. Not an Olympian, but still really freaking good. And he could be on his way. Let me hear it for last year's Blocker of the Year, Mr. Theo Brunner. Taylor, Kane, and David. Kane and Theo. Here we go for the semifinals.
Well, we are good to go here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. To your left, Brunner and Schalk, the #1 seed in the tournament. And to your right, Taylor Crabb and Taylor Sander. New team on tour, very dynamic, and looking for their first victory. I'm Dan Blandon, and I'll be calling the action here in this third round of the winners bracket. Both these teams with 2 wins yesterday, their first match here today, and it should be a good one. These two teams have never faced off against one another. There's a good look at Taylor Sander serving this ball. Taylor Sander, an illustrious indoor career with the national team, and has brought his game to the beach. Become a very effective blocker up at the beach, and just really brings an athletic and real fiery game. Very aggressive. He's going to have a bright future. Here's a good look at Taylor Crabb coming in from the left, bangs it across. But what a dig by Schalk. This time Sander with a little poke shot. And that one will land. We're all tied up at 2 points apiece. Schalk, Theo Brunner won 2 weeks ago in Hermosa Beach with defensive plays just like that. There's Brunner at the net. This tip shot just a little bit too good, but Schalk had an unbelievable final against this exact team. So rematch of Hermosa Beach. Schalk used to play for Canada, has switched over and now playing for the United States with plans to try to make it to 2024 Olympics, which will be held in Paris, France. Qualification for those Olympics won't begin until January of 23. Nice roll shot from the right side is Taylor Sander, and that'll be our first side change of the match. Brunner and Schalk up 4-3, 6th tournament, 6th AVP event as partners. winning their first together a couple of weeks ago, as we had mentioned, Hermosa Beach. Nice dig by Crabb. Schalk tries to run it down, but can't get there in time. James Schalk, one of the taller defenders on tour at 6'5". Here's a great dig by Crabb, and Schalk tries to change directions. Can't get that one under control. There's a little quick little serve by Sander. Big challenge right there by Schalk, and that one trickles through. James Schalk, 6'5". There's partner Theo Brunner, 6'7". Very sizable team. And there's a rip of a serve just out of bounds by Brunner. Great eye by Taylor Crabb. All tied up at 5. Option over on 2, and that's Theo Brunner. Doesn't do the option a ton, but has that ability. Being 6'7". A force at the net. Definitely his strength is blocking. If he can control the net, Brunner and Schalk should be in good shape. Nice little roll shot. I think that ball just out of bounds by Taylor Crabb. You don't see that very often. Taylor Crabb, one of the most consistent players on tour. Former MVP of the AVP. Also Player of the Year in the NC2A, playing outside hitter from Long Beach. But that block of Brunner and the defense of Schalk will give Sander and Crabb all that they can handle. They continue to go to Crabb. And here comes Crabb with an extreme angle shot, always making it look deep. Crabb, just a 6-footer, one of the best vertical leaps on tour. And no question, probably one of the quickest arms. Good look at Taylor Sander. Taylor Sander, 6'5", loves to rip that jump serve as he shows us right there. And there's a beautiful shot from off the net by the 6'7" Theo Brunner. Big story today, of course, whenever we're playing in Florida, is the weather. About 89 degrees, feels like 98 is what it's saying. And there's some humidity as well, about 65%. Opportunity for Sander, and catches James Schalk at the net where he's not accustomed to being, and squeaks that right in between the net and the block for a 9-7 lead. Light timeout on the court. James Schalk cleaning off the eyewear. So hot out here. Sometimes you see the players, fix the lines, fix the glasses, take a little time, try to recover. That ball set a little too close with the double contact. Very important that you face where you're setting. Even if it's back set, your shoulders still need to be square. And that time it came out a little off, therefore the infraction. Here comes Brunner with a back set. Tries to cut it back. That ball's just out of bounds, so that's going to tie up the score here at 9 points apiece. In the third round of the winner's bracket, winner of this will advance to the semifinal. Loser will have to battle their way back. Double elimination format, 16 teams in this one. Most Pro Series event on the AVP Tour features 16 teams, 12 coming in on point, and another 4 making it in through qualification. And then it's double elimination format until, of course, we get to the semifinals, or what some call the crossover, and then it's win and advance, lose and go home. And that ball just out of bounds, but Brunner and Schalk will retain the lead as we go into the technical timeout. Knew this one would be a battle. Number 1 versus number 4.
The Wilson Optics ball is the one you want if you're playing competitive or frankly uncompetitive volleyball. This is still a really good volleyball. Check out the Wilson tent just on the other side.
There's our very own Rich Lamborn, who coaches Taylor Stander and Taylor Crabb. Rich Lamborn, gold medalist in the 2008 Olympics on the indoor national team as a libero. Taylor Stander hitting 500. Taylor Crabb hitting 286 very early on here in this first set. The less matches you have, the better off you are, of course, especially in this heat. So important to take care of yourself, hydrate, get ready to go, because once that dehydration starts, you are in trouble. There's a good look at the wind coming directly from the ocean, cross court. Looks like a direct wind, but it's actually really swirly down on the center court. What that means is it's changing directions. There's not a full, consistent, great side, but we have seen over time that the left side seems to be the better side. The wind kind of blowing in the face of the left side players. The right side, where the ball is being served from right now, is the bad side. But forget about good side, bad side, says Brunner. He rips an ace with the wind somewhat at his back. They take a 12-10 lead. Nice roll shot by Taylor Crabb. Taylor Crabb so good at disguising his hits. Comes in always looking like he is going to crush the ball, and then the last second always making those adjustments. Here comes Schalk on the right side, crushes that ball. Schalk in the finals of Hermosa Beach was absolutely all over the court, digging balls in the backcourt, and more importantly, converting. One thing to dig that ball up, it's another thing to convert it. Here's a great cover.
Touch and turn from Theo.
Brunner somehow has the wherewithal to know where that ball was, and being able to set came Schalk. And then there's Schalk continuing what he did a few weeks ago in Hermosa, converting on the transition play. Once again, Schalk this time from the right side, and just like that, after having an 11-10 lead, now it is 15-11. Brunner and Schalk playing some really high-level volleyball for right now. Both those two with dreams of going to Paris and representing the United States and working on their team chemistry. Finally getting a championship together just a few weeks ago. So trying to ride that momentum. Coming into this one as the number 1 seed. So it's 16-12, 4-point lead. And now it's getting to be a little bit of pressure time for the Taylor. Going to have to manufacture some points, get themselves back in this one. Here's Brunner.
Right up the corridor.
Brunner right down the middle, absolutely rips it. Indecision by Taylor and Taylor Crabb and Taylor Stander. It's a 5-point lead. Big hit cross court.
18-12.
That ball is out of bounds as well. So a lot of unforced errors really starting to cost Sander and Crabb. It's a good hit. A good idea. It's just poorly executed and just out of bounds. They continue to work on Taylor Crabb. This time, Schalk digging the ball. Nobody up. Great dig by Crabb, but Sander unable to play that one. And all of a sudden, 19-12. Taylor Crabb has seen enough. They're going to call a timeout. Talk it over with the coach, Rich
19-12.
Lamborn.
19-12. Brunner and Schalk.
Interesting turn of events. 11-10 with the technical timeout. Brunner and Schalk were leading, and now it's 19-12. See Brunner and Schalk hitting 714 efficiency as opposed to 294. 2 aces to 0. No one really getting their blocking game going as of yet. You see at the bottom the distance traveled and the jumps. All 4 players wearing wearable trackers on their shorts. Track distance, height of jump, quickness, all sorts of feedback. And that's becoming kind of the way of the world in terms of tracking all the analytics. And it's a great training aid, but we're happy to bring you all this information. It's always interesting to see how jumps decrease as the match goes on. We'll be taking a look at that as well. As the players take the court, 19-12. Brunner and Schalk. Here's a poke shot. Brunner all over this one. And look at King Schalk gathering his feet under the ball. Big double arm lift, and he puts it away. So making it look easy right now is Brunner and Schalk. 20-12. Set point number 1. Rips it right at Sander. Here comes Sander with a backstep, and that ball is deflected by Brunner, but it ends up hitting the sand for the kill. And they dodge the first bullet. Set point number 1. Here comes set point number 2. Brunner and Schalk just have to side out, get the ball to the sand one time, and this first set is theirs. Double contact call on Theo Brunner. And so another point for Sander and Crabb, trying to claw their way back into this one. And that ball stuffed straight down by Taylor Sander. And we'll take a turn 20-15. So this one not over yet. Dodging 3 set points already. Look at the blocking move by Sander. Fully down in a crouch, squat, and then up and over the net. Great form. Set point number 4, and this is another double contact call. So this would be absolutely miraculous, a comeback here. But Brunner and Schalk still have 4 set point, and wouldn't you know it, that's how it ends. Taylor Crabb to get a little too technical with a short serve, and that ball does not clear the net. Brunner and Schalk victorious in set number 1, 21-16. Set number 2 in the 3rd round of the winner's bracket. Up next.
Get ready for a whole new wave of White Claw. New full flavor White Claw Surf. Sensational refreshment for a taste like no other.
We all know it's a good idea to recycle. But what happens to that aluminum can or all that paper after you put it in the recycling bin? Where does it go? What does it become in its second life? See how WM is always working for a sustainable tomorrow at WM.com/stories.
It's the choices we make that define us.
Try and Trevor's coming off a tough, heartbreaking loss.
And ultimately, the enemy is within. Some people want it. Some wish for it. But others make it happen.
Try and Trevor's super lethal, bringing fire and passion to the court.
How will you take charge?
Welcome back to beautiful Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Set number 1 in the books. Brunner and Schalk victorious. As we look at the stats, the hitting efficiency, 625 for Brunner and Schalk as opposed to 316 on the other side of the net for Sander and Crabb. Blocking goes to Sander. He had one big block, which is surprising because Brunner is known for his blocks, so he hasn't even gotten on the board yet. Brunner and Schalk were victorious, so that is not good news for Sander and Crabb. They need to start to use that aggressiveness, get more aces for sure with the physicality type of a game that they do play. Brunner and Schalk leading the ace category as well, 2-0. I'm Dane Blanton, giving you all the action here in this third round men's winners bracket. The winner of this will move on to the semifinal. It will be played tomorrow. The loser will have to claw their way back. And so there's the Taylors. Taylor Sander on the left, Taylor Crabb exiting on the right. New team as of this year, and a lot of people expecting big things about this team. Very athletic, very competitive, and there's a good look at the champions on the men's side this year. Dahlhauser winning with Andy Benish, and then with Casey Patterson in New Orleans, and then 2 weeks ago it was Theo Brunner and Kane Schalk taking home their first victory as teammates. We're underway here in the second set. Roll shot. Seems like Kane Schalk's done his homework on Taylor Crabb. He is touching every single one of his shots all over the court right now. Really locked in. We continue to go to Taylor Crabb. There's the roll shot that does not fool Brunner as he climbs up to the penthouse level right there and just throws the ball back. That'll be the first block for Theo Brunner. Check it out here. The roll shot and just hanging up in the air is Brunner. And now in a little bit of trouble. Sander and Crabb, there's the option. A little too close to the net, but Kane Schalk elevates right there with a poke shot. Just like that, it's a 3-0 lead for Schalk and Brunner. Their target of choice has been Taylor Crabb, so he's going to continue to get the majority of the serves. There's a poke shot rainbow to the corner, and right now Brunner and Schalk can do no wrong. Everything going their way. They're in the right spots, right time. They're executing, converting on the transition. And Taylor switched side in serve receive, and not out of trouble just yet. And there's an over on one by Team Schalk, and the route continues right now, 5-0. Taylor Sander, Taylor Crabb switch sides on that last serve reception, and they do it again. Crabb on the right, that's not his side of choice, and they are reeling right now in all sorts of trouble, down 6-0 in the second set. And they're going to take the timeout, and they are going to think about this one.
I'm coming back on the court with my friends, and we've got a bunch of mini balls to give all of you. Let's do it, girls. Here we go. However you want to get out there. First mini ball of the weekend.
Time to look at our monster hydro monster block of the day. It comes from Taylor Sander, and this one just thunderous. The ball hitting the ground before the players do. That is a stuff block. That's what we call that. The monster hydro monster block of the day. See the communication. Not much to talk about right now. Brunner and Schalk completely locked in, and doesn't seem like much talk going on. Taylor Sander and Taylor Crabb's side either. They know what they need to do. They're not playing to the level that they know they're capable of, and everything seems to be going the way of the opposition. So in a situation like this, you really want to take a deep breath, don't panic, and just get back to doing what you do best. And it starts with a really nice pass. I'd like to see Taylor Crabb go back to his favored left side. I'm not a huge fan of players switching sides to mix things up. Sometimes it puts you in more trouble. But Taylor Crabb is on the right. Nice bat. And that ball gets ripped and blocked straight down, but it stays on the side of Brunner and Schalk. What a quick arm right there by Taylor Crabb. And they avoid a blank 7-0 switch, make it 6-1. And the scary thing is Brunner and Schalk move over to the side of what we call, or what we have been calling the good side, but it is swirling winds down there.
Video going way
That
up there.
time,
The Eagles 7-1.
So the AVP Tour continuing a 3-week East Coast swing with all 3 stops at different levels. The first was last week in Atlantic City. We're here in Florida this week, and next week the first Gold Series event that'll take place in Atlanta, and that will be a hot one for sure. First of 3 Gold Series events. There's Atlanta, there's Manhattan Beach, and then Chicago. And the serving pressure continues to come the way of Taylor Crabb, always known as one of the best serve receivers on tour. Right now having all sorts of trouble. Brunner setting Schalk, and Schalk puts it again down to the sand, really on fire right now. 10-1. Did not see this coming. The number 1 seed, Brunner and Schalk, absolutely dominating. Another tough serve. This is going to be a free ball. Actually, Sander goes for the winner and error. And it is 11-1. Keep in mind, Brunner and Schalk won the first set 21-16. Crabb and Sander are in a hole.
Trust me, you did not want to see King's tap ball.
For Brunner and Schalk. And a stuff down at the net. These are one of those matches that you're going to look back on and say, wow, we were almost doing everything perfectly. Brunner and Schalk are everywhere. Brunner right there sealing the line on Taylor Crabb, and that ball going straight down. This time, Taylor gets it down, and wow. Who would have thought? Technical timeout at 17-4. Complete domination by Brunner and Schalk. Just 4 points away from advancing to the semifinal. And not a lot to talk about there. You just want to keep it going as we take a look at this team versus team stats here. Brunner and Schalk showing an .875 hitting percentage, and Sander and Crabb, check that out. If that is accurate, they're 0%. That means their errors have really stepped up. Their errors are equaling their kills, and so a 0%. 6 dig to 2 came Schalk, as I mentioned, in the backcourt, having a fantastic game. Blocked 3-0 here in this second set, and this one has really gotten away from Taylor Crabb and Taylor Sander. But remember, we are in the winner's bracket. Loser of this will have an opportunity to fight their way back to the semifinal. Flags are blowing, a great breeze to have, especially if you're sitting in the crowd because of this heat. 89 degrees, feels like 97. Players appreciate it as well, but it does make it challenging. We've established the left side is the better side, although the wind is swirling. That better side is when you have that wind in your face. And the right side, not the best side. The wind at your back, can't hit the ball quite as hard. Let's see what Taylor Sander can bring. And there's a trickler. That's probably best case scenario on the bad side. You rip that ball too hard, it ends up about 5 feet out. But if you can clip the top of the net and get a trickler, that's the one. And this one into the bottom of the net. 17-6. Score reads now. Jump float action from Taylor Crabb. Going over to Kane Schalk, and Schalk controlled by Sander. What an up by Kane Schalk. Brunner tries to go under the net, play it outside of the antenna, doesn't get there in time. So the Taylor's trying to chip away at the lead. Schalk from the right side. Cut shot's dug, but it's over the net, so Schalk is going to have a second opportunity. You don't want to give him multiple opportunities. He's going to make you pay for it. (18-8). Brunner right down the middle, a little confusion there. Brunner and Schalk should have a good opportunity, but no.
1 point to the switch.
Wizardry of Taylor Crabb from about 10 feet off the net somehow chops a beautiful shot in front of Brunner. Falls for a kill. Just trying to get something going, or Taylor Sander and Taylor Crabb, but nothing seems to be going their way. That ball into the bottom of the net. Take a side switch. 19-9. Not sure if the Crabbs are going to make it to double digits. It is 20-9. Remember, there is no freeze. You used to be a freeze at match point when you had to serve to score. And the Crabb asking for a travel, and his partner Brunner. Brunner says yes. And a little anticlimactic that sky ball. I think Jim Schalk's going to have to work on that one, but always a fan favorite. Never a bad thing interacting with the crowd. And look at this. Taylor Crabb tries to give it back, and on the second match point, that ball out of bounds. They knew it would have taken a miracle to come back there in the second. So Brunner and Schalk absolutely dominate here in the third round of the winners bracket, 21-16, 21-10, and they were doing it all. Not only blocking at the net, the defense in the backcourt, everything going their way, the tricklers, you name it. And they had it going on. As we take a look at the road to the championship. Brunner and Schalk advancing over Crabb and Sander to the semifinal. Still to play 2 versus 3. Bourne and Trevor Crabb against Buttinger and Field. So no upsets so far here in the winner's bracket. First 4 seeds advancing to those rounds. And as we look at the hitting percentage, just jumping off the stat book page, 667 for Brunner and Schalk, dominating not only in the backcourt with digs, but at the net with blocks. They will try to continue this momentum into the semifinals. It's Brunner and Schalk winning here over Sander and Crabb. Sander and Crabb still have an opportunity. They're going to have to fight their way back.